What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome to the show. Oh, if I start talking in their voices, they know it. Hey, that's my voice. Put that tongue back in your mouth. I'm missing one because he's grumpy right now. Yes, this is a show, the dog show about you. Yeah, the people want to know about you. You can come sit in my lap. The thing about pit bulls is that they really don't understand that they're large. They think that they're very small. Wow, you're beautiful. Okay, Bailey, why don't you pop a squat so we can tell the people about your life, okay? This is literally what it's like trying to get video ready with the dogs. I need you to nod. I'm gonna need you to nod. So today's video is all about the pupperoonies, and I have gotten this request to do a video on this for so long. The reason I hesitated is because you know how everybody on the internet always has an opinion, and I didn't want people to be like freaking out about certain things. There's different methods of training in this video that I use, and this is not a purely positive dog training. And what I mean by that is I don't only use purely positive corrections with my dogs. And I just want to say right off the bat, I'm not telling you how to train your dogs, how to feed your dogs, how to bathe your dogs. You do you. I don't need anyone to tell me that this stuff is bad or what I'm doing is bad. These are my dogs. They're the loves of my life, and I could not care more. Like, when I tell you I care about these dogs more than anything on this earth, I mean that. So I always make sure that I have their best interest at heart, obviously, and I just want this to be a positive video, so please refrain from arguing with people in the comment section or arguing with me, okay? Yes. So anyways, if you're new to my channel, I have 3 Pitty Mix rescues. Tucker, who is Tux. He is literally the grumpiest old man, and he only wants to hang out with me on his terms. Sir. Yeah, I think that's a no. I don't think he's gonna join me for this video. But he is almost 9 years old, and he is a boxer pit mix. He's actually the smallest of my trio. Then I have Bailey Jane. She is a pit lab mix whose tongue does not fit in her mouth, which is literally my favorite thing about her. She just turned 3 in May. And then I have little Eliza Joe, who was our foster baby, and then we decided that we loved her so much, and she was just the perfect little addition to our family, so we adopted her on Christmas. And some of the things I'm going to talk about in today's video are about training, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably already have heard me talk about this, but all 3 of my dogs are very different. And something that I like to preach with my own dogs, but also when I'm talking to other people about their dogs, is treating your dogs differently is okay. It's about treating them fairly. And what I mean by that is giving each dog the specific attention, training, structures, boundaries, routine that specific dogs need, because that specific dog needs, because every dog is so different. My 3 are the perfect example of this. Tucker is probably the most chill, laid back, like does not give a shit about anything, and he just requires a lot less structure and boundaries and routine than my other 2. Bailey's kind of in the middle, but she does have a little bit of separation anxiety from me. And then Eliza, coming from being a stray dog, she definitely needed the most boundaries, the most routine. She thrives on structure, and you can see a huge shift in behavior when her structure is off and her routine is off. Like, she will act out, and it's important to know what type of metabolism, as I like to call it, that your dog has. So obviously I'm not a dog trainer, but I have worked with many dog trainers in the past. I'm also going to link my favorite dog training references in the description box, along with every single thing that I'm mentioning in today's video. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first up the category is grooming. And these are just some things that I do at home. I do take them to get their nails clipped professionally at the vet. I don't personally like to clip them with nail clippers that are for dogs, because I've just seen it one too many times where you clip it too low and it hits their vein and it takes forever to stop bleeding, and then they're like traumatized by it. So what I use instead is this little nail Dremel that I got off of Amazon. It doesn't actually have the make of it on here, but I'll find a similar one or this one and link it for you. Basically, it doesn't really make any noise and it's super safe. I will say though, it does take a bit of time to Dremel the nail, so this is just something that I use in between groomings. This is not something that I would actually cut a decent amount of size off of your dog's nails with, just, you know, personal preference. Eliza has never had this done on her before. She's quite interested in it, but I've just never done it on her since her nails tend to get pretty dremeled with the ground outside. So basically you just put their nail up against it like this. Good girl. Good girl. That's a nice girl. And I've desensitized Bailey to this since she was like 6 months old, so this doesn't bother her at all. If that's something that you're interested in, I would highly recommend desensitizing your dogs to things like this, especially just touching their feet. Eliza, just because she had so much trauma that she came from, I never jumped into a Dremel, but just with feet touching and ear touching, that's something that you definitely can desensitize your dogs to, just to help make your life easier. Then moving along, we have Vet's Best Nature's Healthcare Dental Toothpaste, veterinary formula, and their little doggy toothbrush. I will say this toothbrush is not my favorite. I have another one that looks kind of similar to a normal human toothbrush, but this one you're supposed to actually kind of like get their teeth in it. Like that. Good girl. Eliza, I've done her teeth before, so she knows what that is. Yeah, that's a good girl. What is that? Yeah. Same with Bailey. But this one I just find is a little bit more cumbersome, and the other ones are a bit easier, although obviously you can't get the underside of their teeth, so just keep that in mind. I don't know, honestly, if there's anything special about this toothpaste, but it's just for plaque and tartar, and it says it's made with neem oil and enzymes. So I also have these little like dental sticks, not greenies, it's a different kind that I get from Petco, and I'll just give them to them every now and then. But it is really important to brush your dog's teeth just to help with plaque and tartar as they age. Can I show them your teeth first? Let me show them. Hey, look at them, they're so white. They're so pearly white. All right, so moving along to bathing and grooming, I use Earth Bath Natural Pet Care. I guess a lot of the stuff that I use for them is natural, whatever you want to take that as, but I've been using this brand for a long time. I get the sweet orange oil scent, and also I really like the sweet almond one, which is the scent of conditioner that I have. I personally really like to use both shampoo and conditioner on my dogs, even though they are short coat. I just feel like it makes them so much softer, and especially on Eliza because she's got white. Oh, she's giving her a little bath right now. That's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. And then I have this little 3-in-1 deodorizing spritz, and this is the same brand, and this is the vanilla almond one. It just helps keep them nice and fresh. Oh yes, oh princesses, they gotta smell so good. That brand also makes a deep conditioner spray, which is really nice. Spoiled ass dogs. Okay, so last 2 things on the grooming side is this little short hair de-shedding brush, which I really need to de-shed. That's gross. Oh my god, I should have probably pulled that out. But I will tell you, people ask me all the time, like, how is your house not covered in dog hair? And it depends. If you pet Eliza so much and you're consistently scratching her, yes, more fur is going to come off of her. Same with Bailey and Tucker. But for the most part, a lot of the shedding comes down to how you groom them and the quality of their food. So, and I'll talk about that next, but I do recommend brushing your dogs once a week. And then this is kind of gross, but it's also part of being a dog owner, and I do clean their ears with these because you actually are not supposed to put peroxide in your dog's ears, or if you like don't use a Q-tip to clean them, so you'll want a little wipey. These are technically for their butts. These are hygienic cleaning and deodorizing butt wipes for dogs. Yep. This is what it's about being a dog owner, okay? You know how many times I pulled stuff out of one of my dog's butts? So with the ears, it's kind of the same thing. You just put your finger around the ear wipes, and then you just, you just wipe their ears, clean them off, and then they'll shake it. That's just kind of what I do for their ear cleaning, and I do that whenever I give them a bath. So that's all I got for you on the grooming side of things, and let's chat about food. Back in, I think it was, I want to say end of 2018 or early 2019, there was a potential correlation between grain-free dog food and heart issues. And if you look it up on the internet, you will see a ton of things, just like with anything else on the internet, but there is so much controversial information. And ultimately, when I asked my vet, and I had 2 different vets in Florida, and then obviously the one that I see here now in Iowa, and I have some vet friends and vet tech friends, there has not been conclusive evidence to show that it absolutely causes heart disease or heart failure in dogs. Actually, I think the most recent study that I found, I'll have to link it in the description box, the most recent study showed that there was no correlation. So do with that information what you will. Again, not telling you to do grain-free, not telling you to do anything different. This is just what I do, and this is what has worked for my dogs. I use 2 different types of dog food for the girls. They are eating Taste of the Wild, and they eat the bison blend. I do like to rotate through the proteins, and I've noticed that Eliza does the best with bison, and Bailey's pretty flexible. She can kind of go through. I haven't seen any adverse reactions to any different protein types. Actually, the most common protein that dogs are actually allergic to is chicken. So I stay away from the chicken, and I just use the bison and salmon are kind of my go-to. There's another beef one that they seem to really like. So I rotate through that, and they eat the dry food. And then Tucker, actually, now because he's an old man, he had to get switched to senior food. So when he turned 8 and he started having a little bit more GI problems, we switched him over to Purina Pro Plan, and he is on the senior sensitive tummy one. So he eats that, and then they also make these little like gourmet wet things that if he sometimes he'll just not want to eat his dry food, so I'll give him the wet food instead. And then on top of their dry food, I squirt on this, I'll pop it up here so you can see, it's like a salmon and omega-3 6-9 rich oil for their coats and their joints and their skin. So none of my dogs thankfully have any issues with allergies, to my knowledge, at least Eliza, not since I've had her, but my other two since I've had them for so long. I haven't struggled with any type of skin allergy or food allergy, and that's just the food that they seem to enjoy the most. As far as treats go, I have to be honest, I don't give them a lot of different types of treats because I get fearful with Tuxie's stomach, and Bailey has had some incidents with vomiting, and I don't know what caused it. So I stick to the same thing. With training treats, I use Zook's minis, and they're just really, really tiny. They absolutely love them. The duck flavor is their favorite. And then one of the things that I do for Eliza is stick these peanut butter square bones that I get from Target into her Kong toy, so it's really difficult for her to get out. And I will give her one of those anytime that I leave the house and she goes into her little apartment. So speaking of that, because I do know that some people ask quite a bit why Eliza doesn't sleep in the bed with us and why, like, you know, Tuxie doesn't need an e-collar. So transitioning into the training portion of talking about the dogs, I will kind of give you a little bit more in-depth answer as to what I touched on in the beginning of the video about their different metabolisms. There are different training tools that dog trainers will use, as I was kind of mentioning about the Purely Positive. There's a little square graph that a lot of them tend to reference, and it just really depends on your comfortability, your knowledge, and your dog, essentially, and what you need. So Eliza, number one, the question that gets asked about the bed, there is no way that I could sleep with a giant 230-pound, 6-foot guy, plus Bailey's big ass laying on top of me at night, Tuxie in between Austin and I. There's literally no room for Eliza, and she is the biggest one, okay? She is almost 70 pounds, and she's tall. She's got long arms like me, okay? Look at these things. You got long arms like men. So just for my own sanity, she does not sleep in the bed with us. But when we first brought her home, one of the things that I implemented right off the bat was getting her comfortable with her own space. And because we have a heated and air conditioning basement that has so much room, and also concrete floors in case of any accidents, what I did was just take a giant 8x10 plush rug, put it down there, set it up with a bed that I actually bought from Costco. It's a human bed. It is a twin size memory foam bed. Just because I felt like, you know, if Tux and Bailey get to sleep in the Performa sleep, she should have, you know, top-notch mattress too. I put blankets on it, pillows, just to kind of make it feel like it wasn't something that she wouldn't enjoy. And I always made her area down there fun for her. And anytime I left, obviously, because in the beginning, I didn't know how the dogs would be alone without supervision, nor should you ever do that. As a side note, if you are bringing a third dog into your home or additional dog, you should never leave those dogs unattended, honestly, within like the first 6 months. Just my opinion, because you don't know. You just don't know yet, and you need to make sure you get a good routine down and understand their dynamic and their level of trust, their level that they believe on their hierarchy. So there's a lot of things that go into that, but the short answer is that Eliza has her own space for a reason. She loves it. She gets to sleep down there. She has her whole room with all the toys, and it's just a good way for her to be independent, and it creates a good like structure for her to not have to rely on me all the time. And that's really important also for separation anxiety. Let's get into the training. I worked with Natalie from Canine Performance when I brought Eliza into our family because I was not sure how to bring a stray dog into our house who had no previous ownership, no really idea on anything. Like Eliza didn't even understand how a door worked. So I knew that it was going to be a challenge, and I wanted to get the help of a professional. Tux and Bailey have both worked with trainers in the past, and I would bring the trainers to my house. I've never brought them to group training classes. I don't believe in those. I do not believe in socializing your dogs at dog parks. If you want more information on that, definitely do your research. Check out Canine Performance. Check out Falco the Dog, Wisconsin Dog Training, Canine Elite Performance. I think those are some of my most favorite dog training Instagrams that I follow. Getting into the training portion. The clicker and pouch that I use on walks, I just got those off Amazon. Nothing fancy with those. It was like a $7 clicker, and a clicker is basically a tool that you use to introduce a new command or a trick, whatever you want to call it, to your dog so that they associate the sound of the clicker with the reward, and you're basically marking the behavior that you want the dog to do. I highly recommend clicker training. I clicker trained Eliza for sit, down, stay, and off. So just the basic commands. She does not do anything like paw or sit pretty or anything like that. I just felt like because of her background and where she came from, she just needed to learn how to be a well-behaved dog and live cohesively with us. Let's talk about some controversial training products, which really truly are not controversial. Oh, hey, bud. I got all three. You show the people your beautiful snoot. Oh, look at that snoot. Wow. Magnificent. So I guess first, since I have all three of them in here, all three of their flat collars are from the Foggy Doggy. It is a little bit expensive, but to be honest with you, the quality is so great, and I like that you can choose between the hardware being gold, rose gold, or silver, and they just last a really long time. The flower that's on Eliza's collar is just one random one from like Pet Supermarket or Petco. It was like $5. I just felt like she needed a little bit of extra femininity, you know? Oh, and Bailey's got a bow. Where'd your bow come from? I think PetSmart. Okay, so let's talk about the Springer collar, or commonly known as a prong collar. And the reason why this is actually safer for your dog and does not hurt. People see these Springer collars all the time and they think that they're like these torture devices, and that is so not true. I promise you, this is not painful for the dog. Like, I could literally put it on my neck. Does not hurt at all. The reason why you want to use something like this is because this is evenly distributed pressure. What happens with a flat collar when your dog is on a walk, and especially if your dog is a puller, when he's pulling, all of the pressure is going onto his esophagus basically, because all that flat pressure is just pulling him that way when he's pulling you and you're yanking against the leash, right? Exactly. The idea of a prong collar is to provide your dog with basically a way to communicate what you want him or her to do. A lot of trainers sometimes reference it to like when a mother dog will pull on their puppy's scruff. It's kind of that concept in order for them to tell the puppy what they're trying to tell them. So kind of similar, but it is not the same thing as a chain collar. Completely different. This is designed specifically to put equal pressure on every point of your dog's neck. This is not choking your dog. If anything, your flat collar could cause more choking, and you'll probably notice that if your dog is pulling, they will start to choke on their flat collar, just cutting off their airway way more than they would on this. So this is the brand that I use. It's Springer. It's the brand that every dog trainer I've ever worked with uses. The other thing to notice about the prong collar is these have blunt edges. These are not spikes. They're not stabbing your dogs, and they're angled in a way to give the pressure to your dog's neck in the way that it's intended. It's not coming at them at a 90-degree angle with jagged edges or anything like that. The other thing too to notice is that you don't need a lot of pressure for the prong collar. Well, I don't want to say for every dog, but for most dogs, they're able to understand what you're asking of them with the prong collar just by a simple correction. So a quick little pop on your leash when you're on a WALK, and you'll notice, if you've never used a prong collar before, your dog will respond much better to that than if you're yanking on a flat leash collar, which I don't recommend doing. So next up, let's talk about an e-collar. This is the brand e-collar Technologies, the Mini Educator. Again, this is the one that any single dog trainer I've ever talked to recommends. It is so important that you guys understand two things. One, this is not a shock collar. This is not shocking your dogs. I have literally used this on myself as proof to show that it does not hurt. It's not intended to inflict pain. It is, again, just another communication tool for you and your dog, and I'll explain a little bit more about it. But I have the Mini Educator. It's waterproof. I think it's up to like 75 feet, I want to say. I got it off of Amazon. It was like $200, and this is the brand that I have used on Eliza and Bailey. Tuxie does not need a an e-collar, as I mentioned before, but there are some instances where an e-collar is really necessary. The other most important thing is you do not want to buy a crappy shock collar or vibrating collar or whatever it is off of Amazon that has like 0 to 20 levels. The Mini Educator goes from 0 to 100, and for reference, Bailey works on a 5 and Eliza works on a 7, and that is what I introduced them to. So when you're conditioning your dog to an e-collar, which you absolutely need to do, you never want to just put an e-collar on your dog and then when they do something bad, you use it as a correction. That is a surefire way to actually make your dog most likely even more reactive to whatever it is that you are trying to correct. It is really important that if you don't know how to use an e-collar, please, please, please do your research, hire a dog trainer, whatever you need to do, but do not just blindly put an e-collar on your dog. So when I was introducing Eliza to the e-collar, you basically start at 0 and you work your way until they give you some type of response. And I will show you, just so you believe me, that there is absolutely no harm. Eliza's not scared of the e-collar. She's the one that needs it the most, just because she is the one that needs, like I said earlier, the most structure and routine. So basically, you want the e-collar to be high and tight around the neck. As you can see, this is not scary for her. So when I'm looking for her reaction level, I'm basically just wanting to get her attention for something. And she doesn't even feel that. I have that on a 5 right now. If I were to turn it up a little bit, you'll notice that I'm just wanting her to pay attention to me. As you can see, her ears just kind of perk up a little bit and she's like almost asking, oh, where are you going? We're not playing. She's almost like asking like, hey, what are you asking of me? So when I'm using an e-collar for something that like I'm teaching a drop command, I use an e-collar for the drop command when I want her to drop something out of her mouth. So what I would do, and this is not to get like too far into the training, but just to give you a little idea of what it's used for. When you can use this for recall, you can use this for reactivity, but for a lifetime example with Eliza, when I was teaching her to drop things out of her mouth, I would give her her ball or her toy, whatever it was. I would hold the e-collar, say drop, and then when she released it out of her mouth, I release the e-collar so she understands, oh, okay, that's what she wanted me to do. I'm dropping the ball out of my mouth, and then the pressure is released. Think of the e-collar as like a TENS unit. So it's basically just giving reaction to the muscle, if that makes sense. It's not shocking the dog and it's not painful. So there is 2 different buttons on the e-collar, one for the level that you have it set on, and then the red adds 10 decimals to whatever that is. And the reason why is because there are certain things that your dog will react more or less to. So like, just to give you an example, the only thing so far that Eliza is reactive to all of a sudden is motorcycles. And so on her working level at like a 7, anywhere between a 5 and a 7, she's usually good with, she feels nothing. At an 8, 9, 10, she feels nothing. I had to turn her e-collar up to a 15 to even get her attention. And even then it was just almost like, what? Like, it's an annoyance. It's not there to hurt your dog. It is a tool for you to use to give clear communication to your dog. So I hope that answers your question. And please do not buy a crappy shock collar off of Amazon. You will regret it. So that was a lot, sorry. Last up, just kind of want to talk about the fun stuff. Obviously, there's so much fun things with dogs. A couple of these things I've already mentioned in previous videos, like the cooling chili pad. I got that off of Amazon. And then if you do follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen on my stories that Eliza has her own little tent now, which I also got on Amazon. I do love it, but I wish it was a little bit more sturdy. My favorite ball that I use, and this is Bailey's absolute favorite, is the Chuck It ball. It's pretty indestructible. Tennis balls do not last around my house. They just shred them up in 2 minutes. Most toys as well. I am subscribed to BarkBox, which they love, but the toys are mostly just like big, dense rubber toys. I'll show you one. So like, this is from BarkBox, for example. This is supposed to be for the super chewers, and it's just, as you can see, not really held up to the standard. But you know, that's what happens when you have 3 pitties and they destroy absolutely any intense, durable toy. So Prong toys have lasted forever, and I did buy this thing off of Amazon as well, and I call it the wooden potato, and it's basically a big block of safe wood for your dog to chew, and it's probably the only toy, I mean, it's pretty damaged, don't get me wrong, but it's probably the only toy that has lasted in my household longer than like 3 days. So take that for what it's worth. And then I also really like to give puzzles to Eliza. She absolutely loves them. There's 3 that I have One is a really easy one. I got it off of Amazon. Again, everything will be linked. Then, unfortunately, Tuxie destroyed the sniffing one, which is really good for dogs like Eliza who really like scent work. It's like a big grass foldable pad that you can like stick treats in, and they're supposed to sniff their way through it and find the treats. But Tux thought that was a chew toy, so it got destroyed. So, you know, you live and you learn when you buy dog toys. I think I have more dog toys than I even know what to do with, right? Because you big spoiled babies. Where'd my other dogs go? Where did they go? Bailey! My favorite thing is calling Bailey and her little feet tippy-toeing back. There she is. Come here. Come here. Hi. Oh, Tuxie's went back to bed, so that is it for, oh, huggies. Oh my goodness, don't bite her foot. That is it for today's dog video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Someone just snooted on my shirt. And that is the end for this video, and I will see you guys in my next one.